Count Zapaway is such a funkily designed yokai. He's a TV remote that's also a vampire for some reason. His whole thing is stealing TV remotes and hiding them in ridiculous places. So nothing in his lore really tells us that he's a vampire. I mean, nothing really matches up, you know. Anyway, he's a very strange yokai and competitive, and his yokai I struggled to talk about for very long. Maybe it's that one cursed image that I don't want to talk about, or maybe it's just the fact that he's totally outclassed in 3 by pretty much every other yokai with his effect. Anyway, here are his stats. They're pretty damn awful. Nothing over 100 except speed, which is actually pretty good. His HP is also not great. His wait time is pretty above average though. His moveset is also pretty terrible, with the confusion of the swordsman really just being a time sink for your opponents to purify more than an actual helpful debuff. His spirit lowering and spirit is a pretty big debuff, but too specific to be anywhere decent. Neither of his attacks are great either. So why did I even bother talking about a yokai this bad, you may be asking? Well, it all boils down to a skill, creatively named Zapaway. Not as bad as Reaper's Usher and Reaper's Azure, but still one of the worst named skills in the game. However, the effect is anything but. It is a pretty rare effect called item removal. Only a very select group of yokai have this effect, and Count Zapaway is the only one that doesn't take up a rank slot, other than Yoink, but Yoink isn't great. On a tangent. If any of the yokai I'm about to talk about in a second didn't have item removal, they would not be as good. So let's just keep going with Count Zapaway. I'll mention those in a second. So it basically just has a good chance for Zapaway to remove the target's item when he attacks them. Additionally, his attack knocks the enemy back a tile. I talked about this move being awful the other day when I was talking about reverse it, but on Zapaway the lower power doesn't really matter since you aren't using him for just damage anyway. It's just a bit of chip with a nice side effect. So, what are these other 4 yokai with item removal? Well, here they are. Gimme, Yoink, Cleopatra, and Deadcool. Like I mentioned, Yoink's stats don't really justify using him over Gimme or Zapaway. Gimme has better stats and a better swordsmith, while Zapaway is still low rank and has the better speed, as well as the extra knockback on his attack. Gimme can give extra support to his team with this ultimate doing lifesteal. Cleopatra has overall amazing stats, and her item removal is guaranteed instead of just a chance like Zapaway's. However, her moveset is pretty weak, especially her attack. She's also S ranked, so she's pretty hard to fit on teams sometimes. Finally, we have Deadcool. I've got a whole video on why he's so good in the meta, but to sum it up, Deadcool has amazing stats in 2 item slots, so he has a lot more build variety. The most common item pairing is Stealth Soul and Blowaway Soul, but you have a lot of options. He also has the guaranteed item ceiling that Mio has. Deadcool is a pretty amazing and very commonly used yokai in the meta. So do people actually use Count Zapaway if there are options like this? Zapaway's effect isn't really as relevant in 3 as it was in 2, since he was the best item removal option you had. Now we have Cleopatra and Deadcool, so Count Zapaway is kind of fallen out of fashion. It's hard for him to find a place in teams since his effect won't always be helpful and may not even work sometimes. However, everything lines up so well for him that he can still possibly work. You just won't be using him on most teams. What do you think of Count Zapaway? I love his design and concept, but I still don't get why he is a vampire. Have you used him in 3? And how did you make him work if you have? Let me know in the comments, and have a good day.